Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here, and we find beers a bunch of different ways. We pick them up off shelves. Breweries send us stuff. Subscribers, viewers send us stuff. Family gives me beers. It comes from a bunch of different people. But one of the best ways actually to find beer is when, a subscriber, a follower, a friend of the channel, let's say it that way, says, man, you should try this. And that's what we're doing today. Troegs. They're Hopora. I assume that's how you spell this. This is a IPA. Coming at 6.2%. I did a Troegs summer pack. It had their lager, their pills, their field study, which I'm a big fan of, and then their two iterations of perpetual. One a hazy, one not. And a commenter by the name of Ty, he actually said, he's like, talking about Troegs, making good beer, all that stuff, but he's like, you really have to try this Hopora. He's like, it came out with it, and it's probably the best beer, at least on the hoppy side of things, that they've ever made. Sold. We're going to dive into it. That was a week or so ago. I found a 6-pack on a shelf. I know they do it in cans and bottles. These hazies, I typically try to get them in cans, but I didn't see any cans, so bottle it is. What do we got going on here? Like I said, it's 6.2%. We have story time over here. It's very small, so excuse the glasses movement. It says, Hopora is a tribute to the hop spirit of a bountiful crop. Built on pale malt, oats, and wheat, this IPA showcases Solera hops. Okay. I'm sure I've had them, but never showcased. So, radiant notes of tropical citrus is supported by grapefruit, rind, and subtle pine from Citra and Chinook. Okay, we got some old school C's up in there, too. Immerse yourself in this juicy aura of our crisp seasonal ale. As far as I can tell, they don't do dating on their stuff, which I think is really, really, really weird. You figure a brewery that size, there is like some kind of coating on the bottom. It says 325. I don't know if that's a Best Buy. It's etched on here, so that's kind of a bummer, Troegs. Why are you eating stuff? And if you are, why are you making it hard for people to find it? Because I looked and didn't find anything. So yeah, let's see where it comes in. So 6.2%, not super high in ABV. Hazy. New school hoppiness. Solera hops. Solera hops. I kind of want to say Solero. Solera? Because I don't want to say Solera. Only because there's Solera method in beer and I don't want to confuse it. So I almost want to give it a different name than that. So we're not going to get all haunted and whatever about it. Hung up, I meant. But labelers actually do like it. There's something about it. Just it's a bit more outside of what Troegs typically does, but it's not so far out that you don't recognize their labeling. They always have this kind of cutout guitar pick style shaped logo since they're rebranding, and something about it, I actually do like it. And you know what? As much as I like, my IPAs and cans, something about a, kind of nice, angular, embossed bottle gets me all hot and bothered. And I like doing that with bottles, apparently. Anyway, that looks like a hazy, rich golden color straw. Like you gleam light through it. It's not super turbid. I don't know if you can make out my finger kind of going back and forth back here. Probably not, but I can see through it. And I have a light source kind of right below here. I can see that. So while it is a hazy, it's not the haziest thing in the history of mankind, but it looks all the part of a nice, let's say balanced. We're dealing with Troegs here. Balanced, nice little hazy. Let's get a nose. Okay. There's a lot actually going on here. It's not like punching you in the face. It's not like punching you square in the nose with this big, huge hop aromatic. But you're getting this melange of unique fruitiness. And by unique, I mean, it's not just like this mixture of tropical blend and you can't pick anything out. There is this kind of pininess that you're getting from that old school Chinook. There is a big citrus component in here. You're leaning heavily into orange, a bit of pineapple, but there also is some kind of tropical fruit I can't really put my finger on. But I'm getting this sweetness in here. It's almost like if somebody made a mango out of bubble gum. Like, it's not bubble gum like in a sense that it's like, a wheat beer or Belgian yeasty, that kind of thing. There's just this little juicy, fruity thing going on. Maybe that's a better way to put it, and that's not that foreign when it comes to hazy IPAs, but it's floating around in there. So there's a lot going on from a fruit portion of the show. With that sea hop in there, with that Chinook more specifically, I do think you're getting a nice balanced bittering in there when you actually get in the taste. But on the nose, it's quite nice. Again, it's not walloping you over the face with like impact and craziness. But as far as a hazy IPA goes, it ticks a bunch of the boxes that I really like. Precursor of a nice kind of sweetness and bittering. Obviously, can't get those on the nose, but you can tell they're coming. A gamut of fruitiness that isn't just a melange and a mash up, compartmentalized kind of just blend of everything. You're getting uniqueness out of it. And then it's, what's the word I'm looking for? Fun. Word's fun. Let's make it easy. I'm just diving in. Cheers, y'all. I like that. Actually comes off undersweet. Kind of a bonus. Let's see how each subsequent sip kind of picks up. Really nice mouthfeel. It's not super silky, super soft, but it has this kind of buoyancy to it, this slight fluffiness to it, while at the same time finishing relatively quickly, so it's pretty damn drinkable. There's a definite bittering here. It doesn't get too resinous or too piney. You can get those kind of notes in there. You can get that there's Chinook involved. But it's more just like a balancing act for the sweetness here. I'm not going to call it generic bittering, but we're just going to stop short of calling it that. There is a little piney kind of characteristic to it that adds a little bit of depth of character to it. It is the fruit portion of the show here, and something else, we'll get there in a second, that is really the start of the show. It's that running that gamut. It's that cool... I would say it's a generic tropical juice, even though I was saying it's not generic. It's very much a tropical genericness, but then a very specific orange pineapple kind of combination here. But the really kicker is that little juicy, fruity, bubblegummy thing that I think it really ties everything together. I know a lot of people tend to get the juicy, fruity thing from Treehouse and specific breweries. I've never gotten it from a larger brewery before. The Yards, the Victories, I said Yards, the Victories, the Sierra Nevadas, the Troegs, those kind of North Coast, they usually lean, they're so tied to traditional, they tend not to go that direction. And for me, that has to be a yeast thing. And I think they're probably experimenting a little bit here. I wonder if they call it anything specific. Oh, by the way, I just found dates on here. I'm like, I looked. It said freshest by, which isn't a goddamn date. It's not a date. I don't want best by dates. I don't want freshest by. That's bullshit. So I consider it no date. Maybe that's what I was thinking. It says best by 11/11/23. That makes me think they're probably giving it 6 months. So I'm assuming this is born in May. That makes sense. Maybe. Anyway, yeah, it's down. It's like stamped on this little tag right here, if anybody's wondering. Anyway, so it's that juicy fruit thing that I typically don't get from a lot of bigger breweries, and that, I think, just makes this beer kind of go over the top. Since it finishes dry, it finishes clean-ish for a hazy IPA. It makes you want to go back for more. It gives you enough fruit to be happy. It's undersweetened so you can drink a lot of them. And there's that little fluttering juicy fruit thing I think really makes it for a really fun beer. It's honestly, I don't get it as much as other people in a lot of beers. When I do, I think it does add, if it's not over the top, like synthetic, kind of like, all the, what's that brewery? New Belgium? What's their fruit force thing and all that crap? Not like that. Like that cool kind of juicy fruit thing. You get a really well done high-end hazies. It has that going for it. I like this. I think it's really, really tasty. I dig on the low ABV. We're not at 5%, but we're 6.2. We're getting there. Yeah, this is fun stuff. I dig this. Thank you very much, Ty, for recommending this. Not that I wouldn't have picked it up. I'm a fan of Troegs, but, when they come out, maybe I wouldn't have. Probably wouldn't have. You know what? I probably wouldn't have. Because it's not like Troegs is front of mind for me. I just did that multi-pack, so I might have been like, let me cover some other breweries. And a lot of these bigger breweries, when they do try to dip their toes into these kind of, I don't want to say hazy waters, but new schooly IPA waters, sometimes they can be more missed than hit, but this is definitely a hit. And very tasty. Now, let's get down to facts. Mount Rushmore status. Is this one of the better hazy IPAs I've had? It's like, no, it's not. Well, no, sorry, Jesus Christ. Yes, it's in the conversation with being a very tasty beer. It's not Mount Rushmore status. There's ones that are much better than this, for me, at least. But it's in the conversation. It's a tasty beer. I mean, it's not going to be, the top heap of the top heap, but it's a very, very hard nut to crack. There's so many good beers out there nowadays. There's so many good hazy IPAs, that if you get the really good ones, I think there are, a step or two above this. But you're talking about reasonably priced. I want to say probably paid like $13 for this, maybe 14, excuse me. I forget what it was, but I bought a couple of things with it, so it's not like I just had it cost imprinted on my brain. But you're talking about readily available. It's true. You should be able to get it everywhere. Very tasty. Probably very, very, very shelf stable. You're talking about, Troegs are not going to make something that they throw out there and just kind of dies on the vine after a couple of weeks. Granted, this is probably at least 3 months old, if my math is correct, on a 6-month kind of number. So it's still holding up quite well in a bottle, nonetheless. I go out. Let's say I leave work and people are like, meet me out for whatever. Let's go hit some golf balls or go hang at my house or blah, 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 blah. And they're like, just grab a sixer for yourself because I don't have anything, whatever. Like, I hang out with those kind of people. Anyway, let's say that did happen. I go to the gas station. I see this on the shelf. Zero hesitation picking it up. Very tasty stuff. I'm glad I got a sixer of it. Let's put it that way. Yeah. Tasty. Fun. I like that it finishes dry. And that little bubblegummy thing. Fluttering. It's not huge in your face, but again, I think it ties it all together in a very tasty beer. Done. Yeah. Like I said, Mount Rushmore status, no, but a very tasty beverage. Value availability, we already talked about it. Get it anywhere. And if you like what we like this, if you like well done haziness, you don't want your stuff to skew sweet. You like affordable, well done beer. You like hazy IPA. Honestly, there's just a lot of like haze boys and hop tots that might not go gaga over this because it doesn't have a specific brewery name on it, or it's not cripply under attenuated to the point where you're just drinking sugar water. Anyway, if you really do like hazy IPA, I think you'd dig on this. There you go. Review in the books. Troegs. Have you been there? I have been there several times. It's been a while. Before the pandemic. This is the last time I was there, when my pops was still around, and he lived in like Mechanicsburg, which is like right outside of Hershey. Have you been to the brewery? Have you had a bunch of their beers? Have you had this beer? I assume this is a new offering from them. Have you had it when it first came out? If you know when it came out, please let me know. Have you had this recently? Like, have you had that date and time? Is there a bigger difference between what you had when it originally came out and now? All that stuff. Plus more, whatever you're thinking down there. Review in the books. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of Troegs right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers, y'all.